Welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This how-to podcast is focused on empowering you to live your best life by incorporating the principles of the law of attraction, neuro-linguistic programming, emotional freedom technique tapping, meditation, and other spiritual teachings. I'm Jeannie Hall, author, certified NLP, EFT, TFT practitioner, and creative empowerment coach. Let's get you empowered. Hello and welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This is episode 44, Anger Management Visualization. I'm Jeannie Hall, author and creative empowerment coach, and I help authors and creatives reconnect to their creativity. And in that, I use spiritual principles like the law of attraction. I use visualizations, affirmations, guided meditations to help them do that. I am certified in NLP and in EFT, TFT tapping. So I hope that this podcast helps you and that you will listen to my past podcasts if you're new to this episode. So today is Saturday, so that means this is a Serene Saturday podcast. And today's Serene Saturday podcast includes a visualization based on anger management. And if you listen to podcast 43, which was the last one about anger, you'll remember that I discussed both its pitfalls and its advantages. Anger is one of those emotions out there that is basically like a two-edged sword. It can be a motivator in our lives. It can be something that gets us up and moving, and in that way it can be a positive impetus in our lives. Say, for example, you're irritated and you're sick of looking at your messy storage area, right? And because you're annoyed and mildly angry at the mess that you keep seeing, you might go ahead and get up and it might mobilize you to do something about it after a long time. Or maybe you've been putting off a writing project by procrastinating. That's a very common theme that I see with my Facebook author friends and my clients, that they have a hard time completing tasks sometimes. And sometimes it goes a little deeper than just not wanting to do it. Oftentimes there is a reason, especially if the procrastination has been going on for months or years especially, then usually there's a deeper issue at work. And sometimes that issue is emotionally based. And if we don't clear some of that emotion, especially if it's blocking you in some way, then you're not going to be able to create the way you want. You're not going to be able to have what it is you want in your life and manifest the life that you want if you're constantly being bombarded by these emotions that are overwhelming you. So let's say you've been putting off a writing project by procrastinating, and so you're doing your laundry and you're doing your dishes instead of sitting down with your laptop. And then mad at yourself, you go and focus on what you're writing, and then you're able to write more than you have in a long time. So anger can work both ways. It really can. It can stop you. It can block you from creating and being able to write. It can stop you from making a decision that you know you need to make. But it can also motivate you in other circumstances. So it's one of those interesting emotions. But the thing about any emotion is that it's neutral. Anger is neutral. All emotions are actually neutral. But the thing is, we tend to judge them as good or bad, or as positive or negative, because of the impact they have, because of our actions. The only thing that really makes an emotion positive or negative is the action that we take after feeling them. The emotion itself is absolutely neutral, but because certain ones, like anger, sometimes make us lose our shit and we go and do something crazy, something violent. We get in our car and drive too fast and flip our car, or maybe we pop off to someone and get in an altercation, or it makes us angry enough that we lash out physically at someone. All those sorts of things are the actions that we take because of those emotions. It's not about the emotion itself. It's what it causes us to act like afterward. So it's one of those things. It can go both directions. And if anger gives you the energy to get out of the bed and get a bunch of stuff done, then it's not actually, in that instance, bad at all. Now, if on the other hand, like I said, if it makes you like yell at your kids or you smack somebody around, that's a very different situation. And that, of course, is going to have negative consequences for you. And of course, you don't have to act on any emotion, no matter what it is, including anger. You can control it if you wish, but sometimes our emotions feel so powerful, especially if we've been pushing them down, if we've been trying to keep them from overriding our lives, and we've been not allowing ourselves to feel them, then sometimes they come up and they're so powerful that we get overwhelmed. So this is why I feel like this is something that I need to share with everybody who may have anger management issues, or just are going through a time in their lives where they're feeling a lot of anger and it feels bad to them. This visualization will help you because it'll help you feel like you're more in control and allow you to release it when you need to. And another thing to remember about an emotion like anger is whenever you internalize it, so some people never act on their anger, they just turn it inward, and maybe they treat themselves like shit, they tell themselves horrible things, or maybe they keep all that tension like a ball of heat and fire inside of themselves. And for some people that turns into ulcers. So like if you have to go to a job every day that you hate and deal with people who are screaming at you or disrespecting you all day, every day, but you don't feel like you can say anything back, if you're afraid of losing your job or whatever the reason might be that you feel like you cannot in any way stand up for yourself, then that is going to turn into something bad in your body, and it can cause ulcers. You can have reflux and heartburn issues. You can have a lot of different, especially digestive. I've heard that as being pretty common, but even it can turn into other maladies and different health issues. So it's definitely worth releasing that and getting that out of your system in a healthy way. And of course, for people who don't internalize it and they just act out all the time, some people actually turn to violence. So obviously that is never okay. And we want to make sure that anytime we're feeling anger, that we release it in a positive way. And one way I always tell my clients to do, and I say this based on my own experience, when you are upset and angry, one of the best things you can do, even though I know it sounds hokey, I think a lot of people hear me say it and go, whatever, Jeannie, and they don't do it. And I understand, because I did that for a long time. I heard someone else say it, a coach advised me to do it, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and that's hokey, I'm not going to do that. And all it is taking a pillow and punching it with your fist. And it sounds stupid, I get it. It sounds lame, I get it, okay? Go do it. Make sure there's nothing behind it. Make sure no person is behind it. Make sure you can't possibly hurt any creature, with that pillow or by punching the pillow. Be careful to not hurt your hand, all those sorts of things. But in a safe place, take your fist and literally punch that pillow. Okay? And there is something about that physical action that releases anger. I think that's why some people may turn to violence, is because it is a release. Now, of course, that's not an acceptable release at all, ever. But sometimes I wonder if that's what may happen. But this is what I'm suggesting, is that if you release it in a safe way, like into a pillow or some soft, giving surface that will not hurt you or anyone else, that you can release all that built up energy in your body without it causing any harm. So that is one way I always talk about. But another way you can do it is what we're getting ready to do next, which is to do this visualization, relax your body, and get it into another place. Now, I will be doing something a little more different than I've done in the past. And during this visualization, I will be doing a tapping technique. And EFT tapping is something I just recently got certified in, the emotional freedom technique tapping. And this has been clinically proven, as I've said in previous podcasts, to work to release blocks and negativity out and tension out of your system. It can change your belief systems from a negative to a positive. It can alleviate pain on a temporary basis. Of course, if you have a chronic issue, it's not going to be permanent, but it can relieve things on a temporary basis. So it's definitely worth trying, and that way you're not having to take any kind of medication and all those sorts of things that have their own ramifications. So it's something that's just an action that you can physically take that can help you. And so it has definitely helped me, and I'm working with my clients with this procedure. So something I definitely like and invite you to try at some point if you haven't. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is prepare for the visualization. So of course, please listen only if it's safe to do so. I will be asking you to close your eyes at one point, so please make sure you are in a safe place to do that. Okay, let's begin. Start with your breathing. We want your breaths to be long and deep. Inhale, counting to 4. Then exhale, counting to 4. Again, breathe in for 4 counts. And out for 4 counts. Close your eyes as you continue your deep breathing. Take both hands and find the divot in your clavicle or collarbone. With your 2 index fingers on each hand, draw a line an inch down from the divot. Now, draw 2 lines going outward toward each shoulder until you find the 2 spots on your chest that sink in just a little. These spots may also feel a little bit tender. Once there, gently tap on these 2 spots simultaneously. Tap steadily in a rapid rhythm. Let your breath fall into a more natural pace as you continue to tap on your chest. Keep tapping as you imagine yourself on an inner tube, floating along a twisting, winding river. The current brings you along. You feel the momentum pulling you through the water. At first, you move quickly. The current is fast. All you can see of the riverbanks is a blurry band of green as it all zooms by. After a moment, though, the river bends and widens out. You slow, and everything comes into a much sharper focus. The trees, willow and pine, maple and cedar, line the river. You can smell the water. You take a moment to breathe in the dampness. You can clearly see every branch and every leaf. You can make out the shape of each separate pine cone. You drop your hands now and stop tapping on your chest as you realize that you feel calmer. You are in control of how you feel, and you want to feel more peaceful, so you do. The sun is shining overhead, highlighting the white puffy clouds in the bright blue sky. Birds fly, fluttering and chirping, and the gurgle of the river sounds soft and relaxing. Your body relaxes on the inner tube, your muscles releasing all their tension as you take another deep breath. You inhale, breathing in the sensation of calmness and control. Then you exhale, releasing any last vestiges of stress or tightness. You are completely relaxed now, body and soul. With another slow breath, you realize how much power you have. You are strong. You are proud of your ability to master your emotions. You are a badass. Next time you're tempted to beat yourself up or put yourself down, think of this moment. Think of the time that you took back your power and back your control. Own it. Love that about yourself. And feeling so much better, feeling really good now. Open your eyes. I hope this visualization reminded you of your own inner strength and your connection to divinity. You are always supported, no matter what. Come back to this visualization anytime you need to, or check out my other meditations on my meditation page. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, have an empowered day, week, month, and year. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. If you've enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please let me know by leaving a review. I upload podcasts every Wednesday and Saturday, so subscribe to receive these regular updates. Now, go out there and live a more empowered life.